Welcome, dear friends, to our next Bhagavad Gita lesson. I hope you had a good Christmas or whatever holiday you enjoyed. Let's start with our slow, deep centering breath. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti. We'll spend one more week on the verse that we started last week, the 58th verse of the second chapter. This episode is number 112, entitled, Everyone Needs a Safe Place. And the verse reads, When one can withdraw the senses from the sense objects, as a tortoise draws back into its shell, then wisdom is firmly established. In this verse, Sri Krishna is referring to pratyahara, the practice of where the naturally outgoing moving senses begin to move inward. And he gives the example of a tortoise coming back into its shell. I want to read you what Swami Asokananda says about this verse. It's really perfect. The tortoise is a slow-moving animal, which is therefore most vulnerable to enemy attack. Yet God's wisdom has provided it with a natural protective armor. Our spiritual progress is also very slow. All our life, all the way to spiritual perfection, we are extremely vulnerable to adverse influences. Unless we provide ourselves with a spiritual armor, we shall not reach the goal. Our master, Swami Satchidananda, used to stress our spiritual need to have a background of thought, a mantra and a mental image of God, which is our spiritual shell into which we can withdraw our limbs, the senses and the mind, whenever they are threatened by temptation. Such a beautiful understanding. In this lifetime, I didn't have children, but I've done my best to raise my mind and senses. Now, my body is now 70 years old. I think of my senses as my teenagers. They have a right to be heard and respected, but they're still living under my roof and need my guidance. While I'm doing my best to guide them to be constructive and contributing members of society, when I'm not vigilant, they can still occasionally throw a wild party and leave the house a wreck. For the homework assignment, do you have a protective shell that helps you to steady your spirit in adverse situations or when the senses are not acting as your friend? Thanks for joining. See you soon. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.